for joining us tonight at our City Council meeting. We'll go ahead and get started. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Adamson. Here. Gray.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Johnston.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
Black.
Here. Thank you. Before we go any further, if you're here for agenda item number 8, it has been pulled from the agenda, and so we will not be, that will be on the agenda next, I think the next,
the 16th.
on the 16th, and so that has been pulled. With that, we'll go ahead if you please.
Do you want to do a motion at this time, Andrew?
No, we said we were okay not doing a motion on that.
Okay.
We need a motion to add, not to subtract.
Oh, very good. Okay.
We should be in good shape there.
Okay.
So with that, if you'd please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, after which, if you would please remain standing for an invocation which will be offered by Tamerlyn Carlson, representing the Buddhist community.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May we be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and for the boundless multitudes of living beings may we bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. Evoking the presence of great compassion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion towards ourselves and towards all living beings. Let us pray that all living beings realize that they are all brothers and sisters, all nourished from the same source of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item number 3 is the consent agenda. The following business items may be approved by one motion and a vote. If any one member of the council so desires, any matter listed can be moved to a separate agenda item. A, minutes. Council may wish to waive the oral reading of the minutes and approve the minutes from the council liaison working lunch meeting of September 21, 2017 and October 5, 2017. B, Treasurer's Report. Council may wish to consider the Treasurer's Report for September showing cash and investments as of September 30, 2017. Good evening, Joyce. How are you?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Joyce Stroshine, Chief Financial Officer for the City. Tonight I'm presenting the report for Treasurer's Report for the month of September 2017. Total cash and cash equivalents represent 88% of city monies, totaling $35,460,727. Total long-term investments represent 12% of city monies, totaling $4,677,718. Total cash, cash equivalent, and long-term investments total $40,138,445. This amount is down $2,498,385 for the month of September. On page 2 of the report, I give you the change in cash and equivalents by city funds, and I've highlighted some key receipts for the month. Police grants, $26,566. Transit grant federal, $111,778. Transit grant state of Idaho, $212,201. And airport grant, $321,836. The remaining section details the net change in cash and long-term investments for the city. Page 3 of the report is on the trust funds. Total cash and cash equivalents for the trust funds are $1,209,752. Total long-term investments, $4,574,058. For a total cash, cash equivalents, and long-term investments of $5,783,811. Total cash receipts for the month are $79,005, and total cash disbursements, $57,173. Net change in long-term investments, $60,739, which is a decrease, for an overall decrease of $38,906 for the month. Page 4 of the report is a list of all the fund's cash balances with the net change for the month. I highlighted the general fund and show you that we're at $8,676,083 at the end of September. Page 5 of the report is discussion and analysis for your review. Page 6 of the report is a 5-year trend of cash balances. This report continues to reflect a very strong cash position for the city. Of the let me count them again, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 funds, we have negative balances. Those are covered by pending grant receivables or by a contract through Bannock County Ambulance Fund. So once again, this is a very strong report for the month of September.
Going back to page 2, the police grants, what would be an example of a police grant that's coming in?
We have a number of police grants. The TSA grant, which is we get federal dollars for having our officers through, they attend the airport during the boarding process, and so they're there to provide protection at that moment for TSA. And so we have those monies that come in. Annually, that's about $20,000. And I know that they were in a catch-up mode because the federal government has been a bit delayed in opening up contracts and allowing our monies to come through. So that is a large part of this. We also have mobilization grants for seatbelt safety, for drunk driving. So those events take place and we receive state dollars, which are really federal pass-through dollars. So those are the type of monies that come in for the police department.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Joyce? Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
We'll move on to C, Child Care Advisory Committee reappointment. Council may wish to confirm the mayor's reappointment of Chili Baker to continue her service as a member of the Child Care Advisory Committee. Ms. Baker's term will begin October 21, 2017 and will expire October 21, 2021. D, Historic Preservation Commission appointment. Council may wish to confirm the mayor's appointment of Megan J. Milder to serve as a member of the Historic Preservation Commission, replacing Andrea Talbot, who resigned from the board. Ms. Milder's term will begin October 20, 2017 and will expire July 10, 2020. E, Human Relations Advisory Committee appointment. Council may wish to confirm the mayor's appointment of Mariette Clemens to serve as a member of the Human Relations Advisory Committee, replacing Fran Lands, who was removed from the board. Ms. Clemens' term will begin October 20, 2017 and will expire July 2, 2018. F, Council Decision, Eagle Landing Subdivision, Division 1, Final Plat. Council may wish to adopt this decision approving the final plat for the Eagles Landing Subdivision, Division 1, which subdivides approximately 0.66 acres of land into 4 residential lots, subject to conditions. The property is located on the south side of Bertie Thompson Drive, is zoned residential low density RL, and will have access via Bertie Thompson Drive. G, Council Decision, amended Hillside Village Subdivision Plat approval. Council may wish to adopt its decision amending the final short plat from the Hillside Village Subdivision, which subdivides approximately 6.34 acres of land into 2 residential lots, subject to conditions. The property is located at Bertie Thompson Drive and Hospital Way and is zoned residential high density RH. Lot 1 shall have an R restriction placed indicating no direct access to Hospital Way will be permitted. Lots 1 and 2 will have direct access from Bertie Thompson Drive.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Johnston.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Johnston and a second by Orr. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Johnston?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Adamson?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, communication and proclamation. We do not have any proclamations, and so we will move on to agenda item number 5, which is a calendar review. Council may wish to take this opportunity to inform other council members of upcoming meetings and events that should be called to their attention. On October 23, 12 noon will be a joint cities meeting. October 24, at 11 a.m. will be an executive session. November 2, 6 p.m. regular council meeting. November 9, 9 a.m. will be a study session. Other events, October 21, Zoo, Idaho, Oktoberfest, October 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and October 28, Zoo Boo from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This year's theme includes Mad Scientist Encounters. A reminder, general election, or general city election for mayor and council seats 4, 5, and 6. Early in-person voting is now open at the Bannock County Elections Office, 141 North 6th Street, and it's the old jail. Last days to vote early is November 3rd. Election day is November 7th. Annual leaf collection is scheduled for November 13th through December 1st. Leaves must be placed in compostable bags, not boxes or plastic bags. Leaves will be taken to the Bannock County landfill compostable site. We'll move on to agenda item number 6, public hearing, abatement expense claim for 2255 Satterfield Drive. This time has been set aside for council to hear comments from the public regarding the following items related to 2255 Satterfield Drive. A, city's account of expense report, and B, recording of the expense for abatement purpose with Bannock County. I declare the public hearing open.
Joyce Stroshine, Chief Financial Officer for the City of Pocatello. The City of Pocatello Building Department determined on February 28, 2017, that 2255 Satterfield Drive would be issued an order of condemnation with an order to abate. The listed owner was sent a certified notice, but the letter was returned undeliverable. The notice and order was recorded with the Bannock County Clerk's Office. On April 7, 2017, the Building Department made a formal request with the City Council to utilize Fund 964 to abate the dangerous building. The request was approved. The Building Department requested bids from 3 fire and restoration companies based on the scope of work document for the partial repair to satisfy the abatement notice and order. The work was completed on the abatement of this building, and the total cost was $19,705.91. This amount includes the $100 administrative fee for abatement processing. Under Chapter 9 of the 1994 Abatement of Dangerous Buildings, the city is required to provide an account of expense for the abatement of property. This public hearing provides the opportunity to hear protests and objections of the expense report charged. A certified letter including the expense report and the notice of public hearing was sent to Rebecca Ferrelli on October 4, 2017. The letter was returned undeliverable. This hearing completes the process. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the City Council will need to approve the expense report and provide authorization to record the assessment with Bannock County. This concludes my report.
Any questions for Joyce? Joyce, has there been any correspondence that we do
I have
not
not
know?
received any correspondence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Would like any testimony of those supporting the application? Any testimony of those uncommitted to the application?
Howdy.
How you doing?
Pretty good. My name's Danny Wells. I live at 809 Wingate. Out there talking to a bunch of people and getting input from a lot of citizens on this, I have a list of questions that I'd like to announce to the City Council. Why are we holding a public hearing to decide if we should recoup the taxpayers' money through a lien, but didn't hold one to decide if we should put the extra $17,000 to make the house look pretty? Was the city legally allowed to go beyond merely abating the property from being a safety issue as stated in city code? It's quite suspicious that the winning bid came in just shy of the exact dollar amount discussed. Did Councilwoman Adamson's action of proposing making the house in her neighborhood look pretty and attaching a dollar number to the amount of the project to manipulate the outcome of the bidding process? What was the scope of work that was asked to be done in the bid? Was the scope of work appropriate? Why were the minutes from the April 6th meeting doctored to leave the decision solely on the mayor instead of the council as discussed? Why were only 3 companies given the opportunity to make a bid instead of opening it up to all, allowing the companies such as the Idaho Fire and Flood contracted to do the work to submit their own bid as a way to save taxpayers' money? Did the bid get blindly approved, or was it analyzed by an impartial person or party to make sure the cost to the taxpayer was appropriate and not inflated due to the council's public discussion regarding the price that they were willing to pay? I believe these concerns need to be answered and rectified before agreeing to add this lien to the property that was possibly inflated and manipulated due to choices made by the council. If these concerns are addressed and we can show to the public through numerous outside bids that the cost was appropriate for the scope of work described, then yes, we should send the request to the county. But if the council is unwilling to show everything was justified, it shows a clear neglect to guard our tax dollars wisely, and the citizens of Pocatello should be gravely concerned with that sort of behavior from their elected officials. Is that it? Do I answer questions, or?
Are you done?
Nope.
Yeah, that's all I had to say.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Okay, anyone else uncommitted? Oh, Danny, right there's a clipboard. If you would
Sign in?
sign in and then just step back. It looks like Idaho is going to come up and make a statement.
He's uncommitted.
He's uncommitted.
Can you reach it?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Danny. Thank you. Danny, could we get the list of questions from you?
You sure good?
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll come down and grab them.
Oh, okay.
Idaho Lorax, General Delivery Pocatello. I fully agree with Danny's position here, and all questions to be submitted and helpfully dealt with the city appropriately. That's all I have to say for that. I'm fully behind that, yes.
Thank you. Any others uncommitted? Okay, any opposed to the application?
Nikki Taysom, 4963 Yellowstone. I am only because is this the property that Randy Spencer and those folks referred to several times? I have a problem with this because they did try and resolve this through those means, and then all of a sudden there's a fire, and then this kind of thing happens to more expense of the taxpayer. And if you couldn't get a hold of her, how are you going to deal with a lien? Are they going to be selling the property? How are you recouping that? I just see this as totally mismanagement here when you had residents trying to address it before it got to this extent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others opposed to the application? Okay, then we would like to turn the time back to Joyce so you can answer some of those questions. And we have a list of the questions if you don't have them all.
You know, that might be helpful.
Yeah.
I was trying to write as fast as I could, but
Oh, you don't think my arms are as long as yours?
I was just getting up, honey.
I may address in general terms on some of them. And we can bring Lynn up if you want
Yeah,
more
Lynn,
details.
I think Lynn's here as well.
Okay, yes. So one of the questions were, why did we hold a public hearing for the expense accounting report? In the 1994 Abatement of Dangerous Buildings, the code section under 901 dictates what we are supposed to do. Once we have completed the abatement of the building, an expense report is to be created. A billing is sent to the individual who owns the property, and then we are required by this code section to provide a public hearing and an opportunity to protest the charge. And so that is the reason why we went through this process and why it occurs at that point. The second part of that is that when a building is deemed to be dangerous and has to be condemned, at that point we have to take action for the safety of the citizens, and so that is the reason why we go through the process of what we did to abate it and to bring it into at least compliance so that we no longer have a dangerous building where citizens could be at risk. So. Scope of the work document was determined by our building inspector, and that was to bring the building into compliance. If you want more details on what he had to do to bring it into compliance, I will need Lynn to come up for that part of the question. The bidding process, why did we go with 3 informal quotes? Well, that is according to city purchasing policy based on the how much was the council gave a decision to allow us to go forward, but there was a dollar limitation, and based on that dollar limitation, dictated that we would not have to go out and bid for it, that we could obtain 3 informal quotes and choose one of those quotes to complete the work, as long as it was within the amount approved by the council prior to that. And then as far as on contacting the individual, there's an interesting history with this particular property. They tend to let their taxes get a little out of date. In other words, they can go quite a few years without paying their taxes, and at the last minute they will pay them and keep their property in line so it doesn't go to tax deeds. So there's some history with this particular individual in that we don't know why we can't deliver to this address, even though this is the one listed for the county, but they seem to know when they need to pay their taxes, and so I'm not sure how they're getting contacted, but they don't allow our mail to be delivered to them, shall we say. And so we do the best we can based on the information held at the county who has the property on file. So that would answer all those questions. If you'd like more details on the as far as the work that was completed on the house, I would need Lynn for that.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple for Lynn.
Okay.
And before Lynn comes up, I'd like the record to also show that Mr. Wells, while he addressed the council, he specifically spoke out against one council member directly. And so I want the record to show that Mr. Wells is running against that individual that he...
So as much as I appreciate you wanting to do that, we can't do that from here, so.
I can't, well, okay, I mean, so we sit here and have to take direct hits from people? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's what we're elected to. Yeah. I guess, well.
One comment I could make would be that when this item was brought before the council as a group agreed to abate the property.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lynn?
Len Transtrom, I'm a building official for the city of Pocatello.
Do the dollars that were spent on this to abate this house, do they come from the general fund or the utility fund, or how are those monies?
What we have a fund that's been established for abatement of dangerous buildings. We take a percentage, I believe it is like 2% of building permit fees that come in, and we take those fees, place those in a specific fund for abatement of dangerous buildings. That would include buildings that are damaged by fire, any other type of natural or disasters that would pose a hazard to the community.
Okay, so it is not general funds or taxpayer funds?
No, it's not general funds or taxpayer funds. It's funded by building permits from new construction.
Okay, so these funds that are not tax funds, there is a way to recoup those?
It has been the past experience that we have placed liens upon the properties that we have done abatement on, and at such time as those properties either come up for tax sale or somebody makes a purchase, tries to purchase those properties, this lien has to be paid prior to those titles transferring.
On a little research, all that information about codes and everything's available, correct?
It certainly is, and I'd be more than willing to go over that with anyone that would like to.
We appreciate the work.
Spend the time.
Thank you, Lynn.
Is there interest charged on that?
There is not interest charged on that, to the best of my knowledge.
Joyce? Thanks, Lynn.
When you file an assessment with the county, if you don't pay your tax bill timely, they do charge interest. So the tax bill can grow, and you have, I believe it's 3 years of having your taxes be in arrears before it goes to tax deed. 4, sorry. Thank you, Jared.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Thank you, Joyce. I declare the public hearing closed. Council, this item is before you. How do you wish to proceed?
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept the expense report on the abatement of 2255 Satterfield Drive and authorize the Finance Department to file the assessment on 2255 Satterfield Drive with Bannock County.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilman Moore and a second by Orr. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Moore.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Adamson.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 7, public hearing, vacation of area located within Tuscany Heights subdivision. This time has been set aside for council to hear comments from the public regarding a request by Derek and Julie Ravston to remove the R restriction from Lot 4, Block 3, Tuscany Heights subdivision, approximately 3500 East Center Street. Staff recommends approval of the request subject to conditions contained in the staff report. I declare the public hearing open. Council, have you had any ex parte communication or contact? No? Okay.
I did go down and shake their hands.
Oh, great. Okay. Then one of the two of you are the applicant here, so one of you gets to come up and speak to us.
I was not prepared to speak, so what is it that you would like to hear from me?
Well, why don't we just ask questions if we have any?
Can we start with her name? And
Yeah, we need your name, sorry.
Oh, Julie Rapston.
Okay, I'll ask a question. So by removing this R, this particular restriction, just tell us exactly what that accomplishes for you.
Well, there are 5 lots that are supposed to share one driveway, and ours is one of those lots, and the driveway comes down, I guess, behind where the house would be. And all the housing options we've thought about have not been conducive to the type of home we'd like to build. So we'd like to have a driveway come off of Center Street instead of have a driveway come down behind the house.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So the house behind your lot is Keevan Shropshire's, right?
Yes.
And is the topography of this lot such that you can put your house at the front of the lot and have your driveway there and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good enough for me.
I think you've done a great job selling this so far. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt?
Mayor and council members, Matthew Lewis, senior planner. Just any questions you may have, as noted in the agenda item, Derek and Julie Rafson are petitioning to vacate the R restriction, specifically to allow access onto East Center, which is currently prohibited. Should be noted that back in 2007, there's a similar restriction, which is Lot 5 of Block 3, which is right next to this lot. That R restriction was removed, approved by the council, so this is no different. Staff does recommend approval. We send out notices to all the utility companies, staff. The only comments that were noted came back mainly from engineering, that all other restrictions that are placed on these lots still remain in full force. And therefore staff would recommend approval of removal of the R restriction with the 3 conditions that are outlined in the staff report. That's all I have, Mayor and council members.
Any questions for... Okay, Matt, has there been any correspondence that we don't have?
There has not. I have not received any.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Then we would look for any testimony of those supporting the application. Any testimony of those uncommitted to the application.
Mayor Blatt and council members, it's always a pleasure to come before you. This evening I come to speak to address this issue because I am an immediate property owner. As Councilman Johnson just mentioned here, I do own the adjacent property on what is Lot 6 of Block 3, and the driveway that the applicant referred to is, I consider that my driveway. Since I'm the only property owner along that driveway, it's therefore my responsibility to maintain that driveway. But my profession and having the experience of built my house on that particular property, I know what some of these restrictions are, and one of them has to do with the difficult site. And I can fully appreciate, although I'm here to speak non-committal tonight to this application, I can't fully support it, but at the same time, I want to come before you and just tell you I'm not going to be opposed to this application should you choose to approve it. So with that, any questions?
May I ask Stephen a question? Sure. Why do you think there was an R put on these lots in the first place?
With respect to which restriction?
Well, like 4 and 5. All I know is it's got an R on it. I don't know what those restrictions are.
As Matthew Lewis mentioned, there are multiple restrictions, and I believe the applicant is only asking for one of those restrictions to be lifted, and that has to do with the access being prohibited off of Center Street. So those 4 or 5 lots, starting with the applicant's lot there, the one adjacent to it is number 5. My property is number 6. And then I believe, lot 8 is the other one that is right along Center Street. And those have the restriction. I'm not exactly sure why, but I believe the city placed that restriction because they didn't want driveways backing out onto Center Street. That was the rationale that was given to me when I purchased property and built there.
Thank you.
Which lot is yours?
6.
6.
One with a house on it.
The one at the bottom of the long driveway.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because the color picture, so that was why I wanted clarification on that.
That's about as clear as this one.
Well, that was the problem is it didn't say 6 on the color picture, so that's why I was asking for clarification.
Okay. Councilman Orr, you can see the long driveway coming off of Center Street.
Right.
And my property is the one that is at the very end of this.
And so if the property's below you...
No, above me.
Or I guess above you?
Yes.
Again, the other problem with this is it doesn't give me a topo map for the most part. But coming down, so getting to Center Street is actually going up?
From my house,
okay.
That is correct.
Okay, so if somebody purchases those upper lots, then they have access to your driveway also?
Those lots that are along Center Street that have the restriction of the access, yes.
Yeah, I guess it would be lots...
That would be lots...
7 and 8?
No, 7 is already, the only access to lot 7 and lot 6 is off of my driveway.
Right.
But only those that are on Center Street have that restriction of access.
Okay, because All right, because I saw some Rs up in that area. Okay, there's R.
Yeah, actually, the map, there's Rs on all of them.
Right, so
That's because there are different restrictions that are applicable here, but this is the only one I believe that the applicant is interested in getting waived.
All right, thank you.
So I have a question to Keegan.
Okay.
So by them moving that driveway onto Center Street, does that negatively impact what you've already done and the expectation that you had? Or?
Only from a personal position, which I wasn't going to be mentioned to the council, but since you asked that, yeah, the intent that I've had all along with the driveway is that as people purchase those properties along the driveway, they can help share the expense of plowing the snow and maintenance of the asphalt driveway that I have to have for the sanitation and fire access to the property.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any others?
Sign in?
Oh, please do. Any others uncommitted to the application? Okay, any opposed to the application? Thank you, Kevin.
Nikki Taysom, 4963 Yellowstone. I'm opposed for the simple thing that it was approved as a plat to the city council, and now you have people wanting to change that, lift restrictions, which impacts other people who bought property and have certain expectations, and then you'll also have other people backing out or accessing Center Street, and so you're setting a precedence. And so when are you going to have to say no to someone when you get X amount of people wanting to access Center Street from these construction sites? So that's why I am opposing it. Set a standard and stick to it so everybody knows what to expect and not have to pay a consequence later.
Thank you. Any others opposed to the application? Okay, Julie, we would give you an opportunity for a rebuttal of any sort if you would like.
The way that this is set up is only 2 of these properties that share this driveway, well, I guess 3 of them, but the one next to mine has this restriction removed. And if ours did not, it would be really the only one on that whole side of the street that didn't have access from Center Street. So there's a consistency model that way as well. So I appreciate the opposition, but I think you could argue the same way for our property as well. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, I declare the public hearing closed.
I wanted to ask.
We want to. You want to ask a question, Matt?
Just ask Matt a question.
Ooh, you saved it. I didn't use the gavel yet, so
That was cool.
it's close.
Matt, I just need a little clarification. Why would we limit the access to Center Street? What was the rationale? Is Center Street to be a street that connects elsewhere so there'd be more traffic? Eventually, some stuff like that.
I think some of the thought, because this plat goes all the way back to 1999, was finally recorded back in 2003. I think there is some thought of how Center Street would be extended and so forth. And I think most of it on these particular lots really was due to topography. Things have changed in terms of how you can grade and how you can build and so forth. And so compared to then, I went out and visited the site, and I believe there's a photo there that kind of shows that. And it's actually it was flatter at the point of East Center than I thought it would be. So it kind of goes down and then it'll drop down a little bit, about not quite halfway through the lot. So, and also our setbacks are a little bit different. You have 20-foot setback rather than 25 when this was originally platted. So there is a little bit of relief there. The other restrictions that have been noted there really deal mostly with There's some special restrictions for water and fire suppression. The homes actually have to have sprinklers there, and then some water pumps and so forth within the homes because of the water pressure. And so those are some of the other restrictions. Those will not be removed. Those all will remain. The only our restriction that the council is entertaining is the one that deals with the access off the East Center.
So what I'm hearing from you is, first, the nature of the lot has changed by some of the code changes, which makes it more possible for us to view this differently.
I think there's some different grading techniques that can be made.
Okay. And the second thing is that perhaps at the time this was established, Center Street was anticipated to be a major artery that would service further back, and those plans seem to have dissipated somewhat.
At this point, but who knows in the future, and even come
I'm
back.
just saying at this point in time, it's not as likely as what we anticipated at one time.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Any other questions for Matt? Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
I declare the public hearing closed. Council, these items before you. How do you wish to proceed?
Mr. Mayor, I move we grant the request that the R for the specific item be removed.
Second. Subject to conditions contained in the staff report.
Very good phraseology, Ruth, yes.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilman Johnston and a second by Councilwoman Adamson. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Johnston.
Yes.
Adamson.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 8 was pulled from the agenda, and so we will move to agenda item 9, special events waiver request 8 for Friends, annual encampment. Council may wish to consider 2 requests from 8 for Friends. The group wishes to conduct their 11th annual encampment special fundraising event at Caldwell Park beginning the evening of December 1, 2017 and concluding on December 3, 2017 at 10 a.m. Therefore, they will need permission to have people in the park during the evening of December 1st and December 2nd. They are also requesting that parking on the portion of East Center Street be adjacent to the park be limited to 2 vehicles associated with the event from 10 a.m. on December 2nd to 10 a.m. on December 3rd. 8 for Friends has reserved Caldwell Park through the City of Pocatello Parks and Recreation Department and has paid the special events permit fee. 8 for Friends seeks continual approval for annual events in future years, subject to Parks and Recreation Director review and barring any significant changes to the event. Councilman Bray?
I move that we grant this request for the special event waiver.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Bray and a second by Moore. Connie, could you please call?
Mr. Mayor, I wish to amend that motion by inserting that we grant this as an annual event and that it only be necessary that the Parks Director approve it.
Okay, I thought that was not in the original motion.
It's in the...
So, okay.
Okay, if that's perfectly clear to everyone else.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Then I withdraw my second. I withdraw my amendment.
We were going to test this to see if we knew how to do these motions if we
I know
wouldn't have
you
done
know how to
that.
do 'em.
So, all right. Then we have a motion by Bray and a second by Moore. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Gray.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Adamson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 10, Collection Facility Plan Agreement, WPC. Council may wish to approve an agreement with Murray Smith Incorporated to update the sewer master plan in order to analyze and identify the sewer infrastructure required to serve water pollution control WPC collection needs for the Northgate development area. Cost of the update is $44,918 with a contingency of 10% due to develop changes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to approve the agreement.
Second.
A motion by Moore and a second by Bray. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Moore.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Adamson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 11, on-call water engineering services agreement. Council may wish to approve and authorize the mayor's signature on a consulting service agreement between the City of Pocatello and Murray Smith Incorporated. The agreement is for a term of 3 years with an annual estimated professional fee up to $100,000. Funds for the agreement are available within the Water Department's fiscal year 2018 budget.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to approve the agreement.
Second.
We have a motion by Moore and a second by Bray. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Moore.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Adamson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 12, bid agreement 2017 sanitary sewer rehabilitation CIPP project. Council may wish to consider the recommendations of staff for the following request regarding the 2017 sanitary sewer rehabilitation carry-in-place pipe CIPP project. A, accept the lowest responsive bid received on September 12, 2017 from Planned and Engineered Construction Incorporated in the amount of $315,000 base bid and $13,500 alternate bid for a bid total of $328,500. And if the bid is accepted, B, authorize the mayor's execution of the agreement between the City of Pocatello and Planning and Engineering Construction Incorporated in the amount of $328,500 for the 2017 sanitary sewer rehabilitation CIPP project, subject to legal department review. This project involves CIPP lining for various sanitation sewer pipes located throughout the city. If approved, the work will begin spring 2018 and will be completed within or before 90 days from the start date. Funds for this project are budgeted and available in the Water Pollution Control Capital Account.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Bray?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the lowest responsive bid for this sanitary sewer rehab project and that we authorize the mayor's execution of the agreement and that we make that all subject to legal department review.
Second.
We have a motion by Bray and a second by Adamson. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Gray.
Yes.
Adamson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 13, supplemental agreement number 1, Lewis Street Bridge project. Council may wish to authorize the mayor to sign supplemental agreement number 1 to the Idaho Transportation Department Local Professional Services Agreement between Stanley Consultants Incorporated and the City of Pocatello for additional inspection and testing of the Lewis Street Bridge, subject to legal department review.
Mr. Mayor.
The proposed supplemental agreement is $16,000, which will bring the total amount of the agreement with Stanley Consultants Incorporated to $202,000. The project requires a 7.34% match. However, the city has already met the obligation and no additional funding is required.
At this time.
At this time. It's an important thing to do. It is. Sorry. I thought Councilman Orr was going to make a motion quick, and so I was looking at him, but Council President Brown.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve this supplemental agreement and authorize you to sign the necessary documents subject to legal department review.
Second.
We have a motion by Brown and a second by Bray. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Brown.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Adamson.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 14, professional services agreement, final design of Center Street Underpass Rehabilitation Project. Council may wish to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement between CH2M Hill Incorporated and the City of Pocatello in the amount of $590,900, subject to legal department review, for final design services related to the Center Street Railroad Bridge Underpass project. The project requires a 7.34% match, $43,372.06. The funds are available in Fund 70. Councilman Bray.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve this professional services agreement on the final design of Center Street in the amount of $590,900, subject to legal department review.
Second.
We have a motion by Bray and a second by Johnston. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Bray?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Adamson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 15, discussion items. This time has been set aside to hear discussion items not listed on the agenda. Items which appear somewhere else on the agenda will not be discussed at this time. The council is not allowed to take any official action at this meeting on matters brought forward under this agenda item. Items will either be referred to the appropriate staff or scheduled on a subsequent agenda. You must sign in at the start of the meeting in order to be recognized. As a reminder, there is a 3-minute time limit per speaker, and there is 15 minutes for this agenda item. We'll go ahead and get started. Idaho Lorax.
This is a reenactment of a public service announcement. I hear screams of Lutz disease and people with cancer. Oh, duck and cover, duck and cover. Hold on. What are you doing? Hold on, duck and cover. Let me know when the catastrophe is passed and it's all cleaned up. I would then love to get involved with the community and live a healthy life here and just make Pocatello a beautiful place to be in. So let me know when my time's up.
We will.
It's up.
I'll let you know.
Moment of silence, please.
He's dead. Poor Lorax didn't go.
And 3 minutes, when we were deciding on 3 minutes, seemed like such a short period of time.
So you insinuate this is the
I
longest
just
3
wonder
minutes
if
of
we
your
could
life?
just discuss anything and disrupt the meeting like he was back there. I guess we're being recorded. Oh, happy day.
I thought you'd be pleased that I can stay quiet for a long time.
You just ruined that thought.
It was a good try.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me to stay quiet. I hope our community, they're shaking and dealing with emergency issues in our community, went well. So anyways, have a good night. I'll give you 30 seconds.
Thank you, Idaho. We'll move on to Nikki Taysom.
Nikki Taysom, 4963 Yellowstone, Chubbuck. The preamble to the Constitution states, "We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, promote the general welfare, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings for ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America as the supreme law of this land of our republic, our Christian, virtuous, free, independent republic, one nation under God and indivisible." I'm running as a write-in candidate for mayor of Chubbuck. I chose to do that because I'm tired of people
You know what,
telling me.
Nikki, you cannot say that from up there, and so thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
I have time left to add other things.
We don't. We're going to go ahead and cut you off because you violated that rule that has been established for decades. And so thank you very much for the meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate
That's a bunch of baloney.
you being here, and we appreciate the council for your work today. Thank you very much. With that, we are adjourned.